have 85,000 of our members who use this salary advance loan every month. We charge 1%, which is about $5 versus $75. Okay? 85,000 people saving $70 each month. You can do the math down at the bottom. That leaves $6 million just for those 85,000 people in their pockets to shop at Weaver Street. 6 million times 12 months. You're glazing over because it's impossible to believe that finance could hurt you this much, especially when you're low income and you're struggling to make ends meet. Payday lenders are pulling $72 million if we weren't there doing this product out of our members' pockets, which would not be available for them in the community to reinvest in far more prudent things. You all get that? It's astounding. All right? And we're going to talk about the problems of finance in a little bit. I'm going to recommend a movie to you called Inside Job if you haven't seen it. But what's going on in this country is a disgrace. And nobody's going to jail about it yet. But you ought to be outraged about the impropriety of the financial institutions in this country. And you're going to pay for it, you and I. One thing is, we have become the biggest payday lender in North Carolina, something of which we are not proud. What we have done is put in an enforced savings account. If you come in and make a payday loan, 5% of what you borrow goes into a savings account and is pledged. About 18 months out, you have $500, and when you come in, we say, here, take the money, go and sin no more. What we find interesting is many of our members say, no, I'll work out the loan. You keep the savings, because I've never had savings in my entire life. And this group of people who thought they had nothing have $23 million on deposit in our organization. You can, that's an unstandard answer. Part of the answer was to get them out of the payday lenders. Now how do you break the cycle and get them back to even so they can go forward and do it? I want to show you the mortgage. You've heard about the mortgage mess, right? Look at this thing. Economists, all you Chapel Hillians read The Economist, I'm sure. They said in 2002 that over half, right, of the loans made by Fannie Mae, right, the national lender, were mispriced by 4%. They could have been at a rate 4% lower than they were charged. Let's take a look at what this means. Here's a $100,000 loan. I know that's a joke in Chapel Hill, but just take that for granted. And this rate is a little higher than they are now, but the comparison is the same. At $11.75, you would have paid $1,000 a month for 30 years, right? That's your monthly payment. But it was mispriced by 4%. It could have been 4% lower. Over half the loans could have been 4% lower. And if so, the consumer would have paid not $1,000, but $700 a month. Same house, same loan. This is your national mortgage lender. Now that's a disgrace a little bit, but here's the real disgrace. See that payment for 30 years? If it had been correctly priced at $775 and made for 15 years, the mortgage banking industry stole 15 years of somebody's life. It's not as much about the money. It's about the insult. Why don't we do tax returns without charge for our members? Why? Because we save them $200 and give them away from some of the for-profits. The earned income tax credit, there's about $150 million in earned income tax credits, which is your former welfare system. But if you're working, you get a refund, you do it. It's going to waste. It's not coming into North Carolina as it should. We're helping make sure that members that deserve this money capture it, and it's reinvested in North Carolina. We work with the Latino credit union, regardless of your politics, aliens or not. They're getting shot on the streets of Durham and Chapel Hill. They needed a place to cooperate. They're now a $100 million organization. You have a branch here in Colbert. We also have a foundation. It's funded by, not the credit union, but you as a member. We have charged forever $1 per month for checking. Since 1980, every member, don't care what your balance, you're going to pay $1. We gave our members this choice. You can either contribute that dollar to the foundation, or you can continue to pay it as a fee. Wonderful intelligence test. 99% of our members said, oh, well, let's give it to the foundation. And when you have 800,000 checking accounts, that's a whole lot of money going into the foundation. We give you give a $10,000 scholarship each and every year at every public high school in North Carolina. 2 $5,000 scholarships at the community colleges, each of the 58. Many other projects. First one that we did, this says Winston-Salem, it opens next month. First one was the family house here in Chapel Hill out at Finley Golf Course. What does that amount? People from all across North Carolina come to the hospital, their child or somebody has an operation, they're sleeping in their cars and in the waiting rooms. Funded that to help give them an option. Also have a couple of teacherages in places like Ahoskie, where they could not recruit teachers because there was no rental houses that were safe in the entire county, and an interest-free loan and some things like that. Well, that's nice thing. At one at Hatteras, it's still floating, sponsoring a cancer center in Asheville, opens a 4-H center in Richmond County. Lastly, what's our mission? The maddening thing, and you hear from this community, you've wasted a weekend doing a strategic planning session and taping stuff up on the wall until it drove you mad. You walk out of the session, nobody can remember what was said or whatever it's going to take. Our mission statement, our commitment to our members and to our staff is all we want you to do is do the right thing. It's a pretty strong commitment, especially when we publicize it. Last thing, our vision of what we want to become. We want to be the institution that you feel comfortable about sending us your mama. But whether you like it or not, ladies, I hope you've grown out of it, your mama is your most important person in the world. She put up with you, changed those diapers, picked you up from the police department, and all that kind of mess, and loved you without reservation. So if you're now living in California and your mom's living in Carver, and the aluminum siding guys at the door, we're the institution that you can send your mama to, and we will take care of her in just the same fashion that you do. Why would we applaud somebody doing the right thing in this day and time? It seems like comedy, right? The one I think Ruffin likes, Thomas Paine is my favorite guy. In 1774, he stepped off the boat in Philadelphia. He didn't have anything but a letter from Ben Franklin in his pocket. And he immediately started to campaign against slavery. We view our organization in the same sense. Don't think it's reasonable. Think about that mortgage example and the salary advance. Don't think it's reasonable that people ought to earn their living off of the misery of others. And perhaps that's the basic idea of a co-op. We seem to have lost sight of that in this country. The reason Weaver Street is successful is Ruffin either goes to church or goes to school, and if you see him in, you're going to ask what the composition of this board has come about, and then we're going to get some action. By peer pressure, if it's local, you can maintain the integrity of an organization, because the managers and staff have to confront you, and they cannot take advantage and abuse you and walk away. You wouldn't let them do it. Amen. I think I'll finish. Is that close?
Let's go ahead. Some time for questions. Credit union sometimes for Q&A.
Yeah, but I did want to make one reward. Mr. Slater, if you'd come forward and get the official credit union t-shirt.